Every single day, McDonald's serves more than 60 million people. That's more than the population of many countries. Its restaurants stretch across over 100 countries, with more than 40,000 locations worldwide. And together, this global system generates well over $100 billion in total sales each year. At first glance, it looks like a fast food giant built on burgers and fries. But the real story isn't the food. It's the system behind the food. Most people assume McDonald's grows by opening and running more restaurants. But that's not how it works. In reality, McDonald's grows by letting others run them. Today, around 90 to 95% of its restaurants are franchised. Independent business owners handle the daily operations. They hire staff, manage the kitchens, and deal with rising costs like wages and ingredients. But McDonald's keeps control of the parts that matter most, and that's where the model becomes powerful. In a typical franchise system, the company mainly licenses its brand. The franchisee finds the location, signs the lease, builds the restaurant, and takes on most of the financial risk. McDonald's flips that structure. In many cases, McDonald's actually owns or controls the land and the building and then leases it to the franchisee. So instead of just being a brand owner, it sits right at the center of the entire system. It decides where restaurants go, how they are built, and how long they operate. And most importantly, it controls the one thing that is truly limited: location. That's why McDonald's isn't just a franchise company. It's also a landlord and, in many ways, a real estate business. Because of this structure, the way McDonald's makes money is very different from what most people expect. Franchisees typically pay a royalty of around 4 to 5% of sales, plus rent that can range from about 8% to over 15% of revenue, depending on the agreement. Altogether, McDonald's can capture roughly 12 to 20% of a franchised restaurant's total sales, forming a significant portion of its roughly $27 billion in annual reported revenue. And here's the key detail. That percentage is based on revenue, not profit. McDonald's gets paid before the franchisee covers labor, food costs, or any other expenses. So instead of depending on how profitable each restaurant is, McDonald's earns from the total volume of sales. When a location gets busier, McDonald's earns more. When costs go up, most of that pressure stays with the franchisee. This turns the business into something very powerful, a predictable, recurring income system. But the relationship isn't one-sided. Franchisees don't just pay into the system, they benefit from it too. McDonald's operates one of the largest and most sophisticated supply chains in the world. Franchisees typically source ingredients through approved suppliers, coordinated at a global scale. That means the quality stays consistent, prices are negotiated in massive volume, and supply remains reliable. Because of that scale, franchisees often get lower costs than they ever could on their own. So while they pay rent and royalties, they also gain access to something much bigger: global purchasing power, proven suppliers, and a system that reduces uncertainty. They're not just running a restaurant. They're plugging into a global economic machine. For this system to work, every restaurant has to feel the same. And that's where McDonald's becomes extremely disciplined. Behind the counter, almost everything is standardized, from the kitchen layout to the cooking process, the timing, the equipment, even how ingredients are stored and assembled. In many locations, the goal is simple: serve each order in under 3 minutes. That level of consistency allows McDonald's to handle massive customer volume with very little friction. It's not just a restaurant. It's a production system. Of course, operating globally comes with a challenge. Customers aren't the same everywhere. So McDonald's keeps the system consistent while adapting the menu. In India, there's no beef. In Japan, there are unique seasonal items. In Europe, coffee and bakery play a much bigger role. The experience feels familiar, but the product fits the local market. That balance is what allows McDonald's to expand globally without losing relevance. When you put everything together, the strength of McDonald's becomes clear. It's not built on just one advantage. It combines control of prime locations, a franchise model that shifts operational risk, revenue tied to sales instead of profit, global purchasing power, highly standardized operations, massive scale, local adaptation, and growing dominance in convenience. Each part strengthens the others. More scale lowers costs. Lower costs improve margins. Stronger margins attract more franchisees. More franchisees expand the system, and the cycle continues. That's why McDonald's has stayed on top for decades. It's not just a restaurant chain. It's a system designed to grow, adapt, and generate cash flow at a global scale. And in the end, that system is the real business behind the burgers.